Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Summer, and to all of you that keep coming back, hello and welcome back. This is one of those videos that people see the title and then they leave a comment. They don't even watch the video. There's no point in leaving the comment in a video if you're not even going to watch it. What's the point? There's no point. Before you leave a comment, watch the video and know what the video is about. So growing up, I was terrified. I was just terrified of being with an Igbo man. I just was. When it came to the consciousness of wanting to settle down and stuff like that, I was very, very scared of Igbo men. Now, what is the reason? My reason basically has to do what I saw in my own home, what I saw with my parents. So that's why you have to realize that most of the time what you do has a lot of impact on your children. That is the fact, because they see the world from what they see at home. I grew up in a house where the father was the king, he was the ruler, and he was everything. And on top of it all, he was a dictator. And that was really hard. That was hard. And I was brought up to accept that the man is always right. The man is 100% right. He cannot be questioned. Everything he says is the beginning and the end. He is basically a god. It did frighten me. It did as a kid. Now, I saw fights. If you watch some of my videos, I may try and link them. I always forget to link videos. I will try and link them in the description box below. My parents had a very terrible marriage. I have to say, that's what I remember. It was a terrible marriage. The fights and the arguments and everything. But what really was scary is I lived in that house and I saw what was happening, all the fights and everything. I was terrified of my father. His lordship was so suffocating. This is my childhood memory. He wasn't that cuddly daddy. He was a ruler, like, you know what I mean? And that is the picture that I had. And as far as I was concerned, that is what was normal in my culture. Because, okay, before I say that, and then my parents would have all these big fights and everything. And no matter what happened, no matter what the argument was, no matter what the issues were, they would hold a meeting. And all the umunna would come. Umuna, the men of the village. We lived in the city. That's one thing you have to realize. The Igbo culture, I don't know what it's like now. Even though they lived in the city, which is a nice thing, but it's still group. They still have their groups. They all know all the people from this village. They still kind of have their meetings in the towns. I remember they used to have meetings at our house. And then when it's Eridiji time, when they go home for the New Yam festival, they have a meeting from the city and they organize from the city. And it was I really do love that, very organized system, very, very organized system. That was nice, but my confusion or my fear or whatever, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to say it, is when my parents had their fights and everything, they would hold the meeting. The men would come together and they would hold a meeting to discuss the issues. And oh my God, these are the memories that I would never forget these things. And they would hold a meeting in the living room. We had a massive big living room in our house. They would hold this meeting. My father is sitting down there. There's this seat that was my father's seat. Nobody else sat down there. It was his seat. He sat there. It was basically like a throne. And then all the men would sit down for this meeting. And my mother would be summoned and she would stand there. And all these men are sitting down and my mother would stand. They would do their meeting. The woman has no say. She's just there, and every single man will be saying, you are a woman, you shouldn't do this. You are a this, that, how dare you do that? And they would do all this meeting. And we used to be in the dining room and we would be listening, And I've said it before, I didn't grow up in Igbo land, but I understand Igbo language perfectly. My mother would stand there and she would be crying. Like, she wouldn't cry out, tears would be rolling out. Tears would roll down her eyes. And we were little. We used to like walk past and just look and walk past. We just come in and go out. And they would hold this meeting and they would basically, let me put it this way. That meeting is basically held against my mother. Basically. It is the men's meeting. They are the judges and they are the juries. They would do everything, and believe me, my father was never wrong. And every meeting they ever was, my mother had done wrong. How dare you answer back? How dare you this? How dare you that? She was always wrong. And I never forgot the image of her standing there like a lamb led to the slaughter, and all these men hold this meeting. And I remember they would finish the meeting and she would come out and you will see her eyes are so bloodshot red because definitely she has been crying. And you would see, you know, we would see these things, and as kids it was heartbreaking to see your mother like that. And in the meeting, the things that stuck out would be things like omena lie, omena lie, omena lie. I'm trying to do a manly voice now, you know, omena lie, our tradition, our culture, our tradition, you know. And as a kid, I always said to myself, this culture and tradition are cruel. Why are they making my mother cry? Do you know what I mean? That was all. That's my biggest memory, is these things happening. Oh, men are lie, you know. Oh, men are lie. Like I said, this is a video, you have to watch it to the end. And before you leave your comment, I am not saying that Igbo culture is wrong, but I'm saying that's what I heard them say in these meetings, and that stuck with me. These meetings will end, and my mother would have to apologize. True story. My mother will have to apologize, beg for forgiveness, by either she's going to buy a chicken to apologize. True story. 100% true story. Or she has to kill a goat. I remember there was a time she had to kill a goat. When I say kill a goat, if you're not Nigerian, if you're not Igbo, you may not understand. Means she has to go buy a goat as a way to plead for forgiveness. Yeah, that's it. And kill the goat and cook it and all of that to plead for forgiveness. There was a goat that was killed, and all the men came, and they ate it to accept her apology. Yeah, there were times when she had to kill chicken and cook for my father as a way to apologize. Unfortunately, a lot of our cultures in Nigeria always favor the men. That's the truth. Our cultures, most part of Nigeria, I can't say all because I don't know all the cultures, but let me say most cultures, the men can never be wrong. Do you know what I mean? The men can never be wrong. But as a kid, that was the culture I was growing up in, and I thought to myself, this culture is scary. As a kid, in my mind, when they say, oh, men are lying, oh, men are lying, it's our culture, it's our culture, I thought to myself, okay, if this is Igbo culture, I don't want to be part of it. This is my thinking as a kid, and I started resenting that culture even as a kid. I always had that fear of I can't deal with Igbo man. I don't want the culture. I don't want the culture. If I tell you some of the things that happened in my house growing up, I share some of them because I want people to learn from my story, but there are some that I can't even share. Like, you guys will leave your mouth open if I talk about what happened in my parents' marriage. You wouldn't believe the amount of cruelty that went on in that marriage. Yeah. As a grown woman now, when I think back and I think about it, the best way I can actually describe my father is Okonkwo in Things Fall Apart. Yes, my father was that man that I feel a lot of the things he did was mostly to prove. He always wanted to prove that I am the man, and I will show you that I am the man. Do you know? And it is the culture. It's unfortunate that a lot of our cultures, instead of promoting being human, it promotes being a man. You know, you're a man, but be human. You're a man, I'm a woman. It's fine. But we're all humans at the end of the day. When you're doing something, ask yourself, would I like to be treated this way? You know, don't go, yeah, I'm a man, I must prove. You know, Okonkwo in Things Fall Apart, when he wanted to kill Ike Mefula, you know, he didn't want to do it. But he was like, oh, men are lying. Like, he wanted to do it because it's the culture. And he wanted to prove. There was a part of him that didn't want to do it. But he wanted to do it to prove that he was a man. To prove that he was not weak. And that's what it is. A lot of the time, some of, you know, this culture. So men want to prove, let me show that I'm a man. Why would I stop being a man for a minute and be human? You know, be human. If your wife says, I don't feel like doing this today, ask her why. Why do you not want to do it? If your wife says no to something, why don't you find out why? Why do you not want to do it? What is wrong? No, but like, there's a part of some men that says, no, she must do it because I said so. Be human. Be human. I'm not saying all men are bad, but I'm just saying what our culture does. And as a little girl, all I saw was, oh, men are lying. Oh, men are lying. But I didn't realize every household was not like that. There were homes where the men were not as difficult. You know, I just hope if you're watching this, I really hope you can think about the fact that as parents, a lot of the things you do will stay in your children's memory. Be careful the impression you create in their minds. You know, the impressions you create and what you leave them with. I was not only the only one that was scared of being married to an Igbo man. My sisters were the same. My eldest sister died at the age of 39 unmarried. My sister was afraid to be married because she saw it as slavery. She saw marriage as giving up your life. She saw marriage as giving up your freedom. She saw marriage as giving up your happiness. We didn't experience a beautiful marriage. We didn't experience love and harmony from our parents. We didn't see that. All we saw at home was a terrible thing. All we saw was so scary. It was so scary that it left a permanent impression in us, that image in our minds. My big sister lived in Lagos. My sister went to University of Lagos. She finished school, she got a job. I used to come from Benin then to visit my sister. She was dating a Yoruba man, but she didn't want to marry a Yoruba man because, you know, our culture, you know, the way our culture is against marrying outside your tribe. She didn't want to do that. She really wanted to marry an Igbo man, but at the same time she was scared. She had this lovely boyfriend. You know, I remember then this guy, you know, would come to her place and take us out and everything. And this guy was lovely. He was a handsome guy. He was a general bank manager. But my sister said, he's a Yoruba man, I'm not going to marry him. Because we were brought up not to marry outside our tribe. Not just marrying Igbo person even. You have to marry from our state. And even our state, you have to marry nearer to home rather than far away. Typically, that's what they advise you to do. But marrying outside our tribe, no. When I got involved with a Yoruba man, oh my goodness. The resistance. Both ways. Both ways. The Yoruba family rejected me. My family, you know, it was both ways. So what I really wanted to bring out of this is, as parents, be careful what lasting impression you leave in your children. Our parents left an impression that destroyed their children. My big sister died single at the age of 39. She wants to marry an Igbo man, but she was scared to be married to an Igbo man. She was dating a Yoruba man, but she didn't want to marry him because he's not our tribe. Basically, my sister lived her life in fear of marriage. My next sister never got married. The same thing. Everybody's, you know what it is to grow up being scared to be married. You know, instead of marriage being this, find somebody, fall in love and live happily ever after, it was no, get married and become a man's slave. And you know, that is what we grew up seeing it as. We didn't realize there are actually some Igbo people that are happily in love in marriages. You know, that was what we saw at home. And then me, I'm the third girl, but I think I experienced most of the poverty and the struggles and the tough life because I never left home. Even as my parents split up, my sisters went to boarding house, and they went to boarding house in primary school, secondary school. I never went to boarding house. We went on to university. Even when my parents split up, some of us would have lived with my mother or lived with my father, whatever. I never left. There were two of us that never left. Me and one of my younger brothers. I was with my father all my life. Some people that lived with my mother and came back. Some people that went off to college and I never left. I was at home. I experienced the poverty. I experienced all the hard times. I experienced everything. The full shebang. Like when I say everything, I experienced everything. I think that made me strong and brave. I have to say brave. You know, and I left home at the age of 17. I experienced so much leaving home at the age of 17. But I think that made me so tough. Like, my biggest message in this video, and I'm not here saying that Igbo culture is worse than Yoruba culture, worse than Hausa culture. No, that's not it. All I'm saying is, growing up, the culture that I experienced at home left impression in me to make me, and made me think that this is the general practice in every Igbo household. And I became scared because I was thinking, if I marry an Igbo man, this is what I'm going to get. That was what I thought. You know what I mean? That was what I thought because of what I saw at home. And they would say, this is our culture. Oh, men and lie. Oh, men and lie. And even my mother as a woman in the house, the way she treated the boys was so different from the way she treated the girls. My mother would tell you, you're a woman, you know you're a girl. How do I say it in Igbo? I'm having an argument with my brother. My mother would say this to me like, you know, you say, hope you know you're a girl. Hope you know you're a girl. Somebody's gonna marry you. We were brought up to say, once a man picks you up and he's paid your bride price, you are, this is the mentality. In my house, this is how we were brought up. When a man takes you and he's paid your bride price, you are basically his property. These are the things that were pumped into our heads. That once a man marries you and he has paid for your head, that's it. Do you know what I mean? We as parents have to be careful. As a woman, if you're being abused and you stay there and you keep quiet, you're teaching your daughters that this is normal. Or you're teaching your son that that is normal. We learn a lot from the internet. We learn a lot from the internet. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people watching me are parents. And I just want to say, let's be careful what we leave in our children's memories. Let's be careful how it affects our children. Because at the end of the day, I would say it destroyed lives. It really did affect us. Look at my two big sisters and me. Well, in a way that was why I wasn't too keen about Igbo men. I just had a fear because of what I saw at home. We can create an impression in our children's hearts that we will never be able to erase. I just thought I should share it today, and hopefully somebody gets something out of this. And with that, I'm just gonna say thank you all for watching. Until the next time, guys. Bye bye. Bye.